2024 is the year of elections. Now, for the first time in human history, a record 67 countries are going to the polls. But there's one issue unifying many of these elections. Several candidates in these elections face prosecution. It's almost unprecedented. In the United States, former President Donald Trump faces serious charges that could lead to his conviction. In Pakistan, Imran Khan just received back-to-back sentences for corruption and treason. And in South Africa, the African National Congress is riven with charges of corruption. Is this a global corruption countdown? And joining me to discuss this are Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, Mr. Robinder Sachdev, and my colleague Kartikeya Sharma. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. We were talking about how unprecedented this spate of elections is. The whole world seems to be going to the elections, 50% of it, in fact. Kartikeya, is it surprising that so many of these candidates are facing very serious charges of corruption?
I'm not surprised. I think corruption as a narrative is very dominant. If you look at Indian politics, corruption as a narrative has come back again.
Yeah.
Though it was in 2013, corruption as a narrative, it disappeared by 2018 and 19.
Yes.
But if you look at what has happened in Jharkhand, if you look at what's happening in Tamil Nadu or with the Pawars or, in many other states, corruption as a narrative has returned.
Right.
That's one. And in India, which is the largest democracy, and if you talk about corruption in context of the larger world, yes, it is. Look at Imran Khan. Bushra and Imran Khan, both of them have received 10 and 14 years. But I would say that Indian story, in midst of all this, will be a story of continuity also, as we had discussed it a number of times.
Absolutely.
There are autocrats who continue on world stage.
Right. Autocrats on the world stage, and in fact, one such autocrat, or the fear of his return, is actually, galvanized the United States. Ambassador Sajjanhar, Donald Trump, the autocrat in waiting. How significant are these charges against him? It's quite possible he could be in jail in a few months from now if the Supreme Court has its way.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sandeep. Yes, I think it's really a toss-up as far as Donald Trump is concerned, although, your last sentence was that a Supreme Court has its way. The way I would look at it is that many of the judges on the Supreme Court bench have been appointed by Trump himself.
Right.
If I remember correctly, I think the score is 6 conservatives who have been appointed by Republicans. Out of them, 3 have been appointed by Donald Trump himself.
Right.
And there are 3 who are, who are of the more liberal hue, so to say, variety. So, if the case were to come to the Supreme Court, I think they will vote according to their convictions, and that, might really trump in favor of Trump, so to say.
Right. Trump in favor of
so,
Trump.
yeah. So, I think there is a likelihood that, if he gets convicted and if he gets debarred, like some of the states have debarred him, but then he has also gone to the Supreme Court asking for that disability to be removed. So we really have to see, because I think as far as the United States is concerned, Sandeep, I think it is totally uncharted waters. This is not,
absolutely.
Trump himself is a very unusual sort of a political personality. I will not call him a leader that way, although there is, the Republican base, the conservative base is fully in support of him, and that is why many of his opponents from the Republican party, they also fell by the wayside very quickly. So we'll really have to wait and see. But yes, if Trump were to be on the Republican ticket, then of course it's going to be a huge question mark as to who might be able to sneak through in a Biden-Trump tussle.
Absolutely, and the latest news, Kartikeya, is that Trump is ahead of Biden, and that's worrisome.
You see, it's not only, yes, Trump is the most important election, but if you look at Indonesia, if you look at Malaysia, if you look at even the politics of Bangladesh, corruption as part of a political narrative closer to election has been there.
Right.
But there are only few states where people have gone behind bars. You know, Pakistan is a fractured, hard state. You know, politicians go behind bars.
But the Prime Minister or a former Prime Minister or a former President being accused of corruption, that's the first time, I think.
It also depends. It also depends how hard you have rubbed the army the wrong way in Pakistan.
in Pakistan, which is, and Nawaz Sharif, this is the same thing that happened to Nawaz Sharif 5 years back, and he was.
But I think Nawaz Sharif is smart because whenever he gets the kick, he becomes quiet. He goes to Jeddah and comes back after 2 years. Unlike Mr. Khan, who created ruckus in the streets of Karachi and Lahore with Tehreek-e-Labbaik.
Challenging the
military
and the army. Mr. Sachdev, these two candidates, we were talking about how they're kind of outliers in a way, both Donald Trump and Imran Khan. You know, they're larger than life politicians. They were not career politicians. They were like outsiders. They were like black swan events. And now today, both of them facing very serious corruption charges. Is this a case of the empire striking back? You know, the establishment which sees them as rank outsiders and, you know, trying to get back at them.
Interesting point, thank you. Yes, it could be the empire strikes back, but it also could be that these quote-unquote outsiders played fast and loose with the established norms.
Yes.
Right. I mean, that could also be said. Not to say that, you know, career politicians have also not indulged in corruption. Talking of former prime ministers, presidents, I'm reminded of Malaysia. You know, Najib, the former prime minister, president, whatever, for 10 years.
Yes.
He's been in jail for 12 years now because of a major, you know, corruption money scandal, so to say.
Yes.
But yes, these are, as you said, you know, especially Trump and Imran Khan are charismatic personalities also. So they do draw more attention. And for us in India, definitely, yes, both are interesting place to look out for.
Right.
As far as Trump is concerned, Trump is in some serious trouble.
Yes.
Okay, one little bit financial, by the way, you know, his legal bills apparently have added up to over in the second half of last year. I think there's a report have added up to $58 million, legal bills alone.
Right.
On top of it, if he has to pay the $83 million to this lady, Carol, right, as
damages,
damages, right?
Yeah.
So that takes it to $140 million only so far. And by the way, these are different category. The real corruption charges against Trump are, which is the jury is out really, is wherein his companies are accused of, you know, inflating the value of their physical assets so that they could get loans at better rates and terms, and at the same time lowering the cost of the assets so that they pay out lesser premium on insurance. Now, that is good corruption. I mean, that is pure corruption, right? So, and that could end up costing him upwards. I think the number being tossed is around $350 million for the Trump organization to pay and not be allowed to operate in New York. So that's it. But yes, Trump is building up a momentum on the political side of things. He is building up a momentum and may not be surprised that, yes, he does occupy or get into the White House. That cannot be said for Imran Khan, by the way. Imran Khan has been totally, as we can all see, has been totally, you know, totally cut off from the political system. In a sense, I mean, Imran Khan's, what he says, even TV channels in Pakistan are not allowed to carry it. So notionally, that's not a democracy, that's a dictatorship.
Absolutely.
If what, I mean, whoever is...
I have, that's a very relevant point he has made. You know, to pick it up from his last word, dictatorships, you see, democracies will have corruption issues globally. So the larger issue is, do we have healthy democracies? I would say the problem is that healthy democracies are reducing in number. We have got robust autocracies in the world. Can you have a corruption case against Putin? Can you have a corruption case against Erdogan? Can you have a corruption case against Kim? Or can you have a corruption case against Sultan of Johor? Or can you have a corruption case against a despot in Ghana? Or can we have a corruption case somewhere in Djibouti? No, because they are autocracies, fractured systems of governance. But you can always have a corruption case in good democracies, and people can comment on it. So when we say global corruption crackdown, it's very good. It also tells us they are democracies. But there is a larger issue of, you know, thriving autocracies, democracies failing. And I think that should really grab more eyeballs, because ultimately unhealthy democracies will create their form of autocracies. And even if the Bangladesh suits us, the form of democracy they are practicing in long run is not healthy.
Is unhealthy.
News9 Plus. Download now.